Yo! It's episode 377 of GI Joburg. My name is Steve, and today we're going back to our toy focus podcast episodes, kicking things off with the Cobra Stun. It occurs to me when we first started doing these things back in 2023, we started off with the Havoc. Now, many people regard the Stun as the Havoc's opposite number. Or was it the Thunder Machine? Depends on who you ask, I guess. But we might answer that question in this podcast, among others that you might have about this weird tricycle wagon, open top, driver sits at the back like a chariot. I don't know, man. It's a strange design, but it is definitely signature and definitely Cobra. I'm not alone in this endeavor, of course. As always, I've got my buddies, Rob.
Whoa! Oh my goodness! I'm first this time, guys. Whoa! You do not understand. This never happens.
377 podcasts later, Rob's finally up
Number
in the
two,
second
number
spot.
two. That's me.
And we got Paul rounding out the trio.
And I'm stunned at this latest development. Oh god, we're so funny.
Well,
Full disclosure, the Stun has been on the back burner for a while now. Reason being, Paul has always vetoed it. Why is that, Paul?
Why?
Because mine's incomplete. It doesn't have wheel covers. It doesn't have flags. It doesn't have engine covers. And thanks to Steve, it now has a rear gun.
Well, and most recently a hubcap. I found one at a toy market. Brought it home.
Okay, so 2 more to go. So this is looking promising. I'm feeling it.
Yeah. Well, that's certainly not an unsubstantial reason to not do this. Because you want to be able to experience the vehicle in a as complete state as possible.
I'm going to put forth a hypothesis that the Stun is one of the GI Joe vehicles that is most numerously produced, but is always incomplete. You can buy a Stun shell rather inexpensively. There are a lot of them out there.
So easy.
It's a popular vehicle. It was sort of a Cobra, I suppose, frontline vehicle of its time. 1986 was a very highly produced year. So counterpart to the Havoc, maybe, yeah, sure. But it is very treacherous to find all those parts. I mean, the flags and the rear gun are the obvious ones. But just to find 3 hubcaps, to find 3 engine covers, to find any of the red plastic parts at this point, getting difficult.
Yeah, it certainly requires a lot of assistance to be able to finish one.
Keep him coming, Rob.
And the driver's no cakewalk either.
He's no one to sneeze at.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, okay, look, Motor Viper is not difficult in terms of production numbers because they made plenty of Stuns, but they also, made him a mail away for many years, I think.
Yeah, I believe so. And also, according to GI Joe, at one point, the leftovers they even took to one of the Joe conventions several years later. So any leftover ones they produced, they just took it to a Joe convention and were like, yeah, buy them from us, please.
So while there are plenty of Motor Vipers out there, I think there is also a tendency for Stun owners to army build them to make your Stun, replete with Motor Vipers. Why not? If they're numerous to have. So they're being gobbled up. Guys, we like to talk about this thing in terms of its media impact and appearances on our vehicle figure focus. And the Stun, it debuted 1986 September with a bullet in the first episode of Arise Serpentor Arise. We have the Stuns busting out and attacking GI Joe headquarters. They form this kind of like GI Joe has to circle the wagons basically, and they've got a ring of Stuns shooting at them. And eventually the tide is turned in the shape of one Sergeant Slaughter, who smashes through the bats. Beachhead takes over a Stun, and the rest is history. GI Joe win the day. Things get a little bit more interesting, maybe, with the comic book appearances, because as far as I can tell, the Stun first appeared in the very same issue that it became pythonized.
Interesting. So 1989. That's quite a long way to go to see
Yep.
it.
1989 in issue 88. It's got a cover that says GI Joe versus the Python Patrol, and already in that issue, it is being sold as like surplus, as like
Oof.
last year's model or 1986's model to that point, alongside Conquests, Stinger four-wheel drives, Firebats. These are all happening in Darklon's country of Darklonia. He's got this kind of
That
used
is
weapons.
wild. It's almost as if like Cobra was like, ew, this thing stunk.
I'm starting to feel that way because of all the opportunities to use one in the comic books between 86 and 89, it just wasn't. And then it turns up in this kind of used vehicle lot. And the joke is that all this stuff is crap until Mindbender passes his special paint over it and upgrades it to being a Python stun.
Now
Then it
it's
starts seeing some
something
action.
worth playing with.
Yeah, and the Python stun then going forward gets some exposure in issue 100. Zorana's got one out in the desert. They're trying to locate the Pit 3 or assault it. But it's very strange to me that like they never used the standard version stun
That is
until
wild.
it became a Python patrol vehicle.
That's
is
very weird. They must have stung for whoever designed this vehicle originally, never to see it kind of shown in its original form in the comic books.
Yeah, I didn't get to stun people in the comic readers.
Exactly. It was
Now
instantaneously turned into a Python patrol.
We can discuss this further when we actually talk about the plastic, but since the page is up on my comic book presentation for the people watching, anyone got any notes on how the stun is presented in these panels? Does anything jump out to you as strange?
Yeah, they're all like, they're all leveled out. They don't have their noses pitched.
Oh, right. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's certainly something. And also, it's not the Python Patrol colors. It's still the original colors.
Yeah, they just put a sort of crosshatch over it.
Crosshatch patterning across. I'm trying to think what else is
What
different.
I'm really getting at, though, is, okay, the other Python Patrol vehicles were the Conquest X30, it's Python colors, and then it has the ASP, which is Pythonized.
Beautiful.
The problem, though, with having a towed weapon system being married to the stun is it doesn't have a hitch.
Oh my goodness.
The toy can't tow anything.
Stunned.
What a shock. What a stun. So, yeah, it's wildly inaccurate to have it towing the Python ASP. But what was the scripting to do at that point? Like, you're handed these three toys: a vehicle, a towed weapon system, and a jet. The vehicle and the jet, fine. The towed
work.
to get around if it can't marry to the stun. And this is something that was brought to my attention by MCDJ ACDC. He's like, this sucks. Like,
I was just thinking of him now. Anyway, carry on.
He's always on my mind. The stun has to then, the Python stun has to then sort of be on its own, and they have to use a third vehicle, a Stinger perhaps, a four-wheel drive night attack jeep, to tow the Python ASP.
That's wild. There was a lack of understanding there, I think, how these vehicles work.
Oh, right. Well, yeah, that's a curious little bit of history there. Footnote that the stun kind of didn't make its appearance until it was becoming something else.
Wow.
But things might, things slip through the cracks. Larry did very well to work in as many toys as possible, but I guess the stun, maybe no one from Hasbro leaned on him to include it. And so, if that was the case, it just didn't get any love.
Those are kind of a dog to draw. I don't want to. I'm surprised. Yeah, I think from a comic panel point of view, it's kind of a pain because you don't have.
Hence the need to like flatten the gun turrets, so you can kind of see all the Vipers in a row on a sort of a flat plane. Yeah, it does have a strange pitch to it, I must say. It's a weird boat. But, I mean, that's just the beginning of the weirdness. It's somewhat oversized for what it is. Can we agree upon that?
Okay.
Yeah.
And what is it? Let's see if the box can help us.
I don't know if it
Tell us,
can.
Courtesy of 3D Joe's, of course.
Ooh.
This
Who have a great Kickstarter going on, by the way. Just
oh yeah,
you guys. Yeah.
Okay,
what does the box say?
The box says, "This high-speed sentry hastens Cobra to his attack position." His. Okay, he selected his pronouns. It's based on Cobra Command's top secret designs, including some of the most sophisticated technology in Cobra's weapons arsenal. Pretty vague stuff, but it does call it a high-speed sentry.
So it's
Now
a his tank.
That's it. Interesting. The nomenclature falls into the same pattern as the his.
That's wild. Doesn't look like a his.
I mean, the his, they say, is not a tank. And the S.T.U.N most definitely is not a tank. I guess Cobra really needed to repurpose the Mobat in order to have some real armor. But okay, it's a high-speed sentry. It's a scout. It's meant to be quick, pack a punch, but not be, in the fight for long. It's very lightly armored, if armored at all. This thing doesn't. Yeah, it's not armored.
It's also not a bike, which also kind of is where it kind of hovers as well. It also sort of lives in the realm of being a motorbike, but it's not that either. It's
So I watched a fascinating documentary about the ATC, the Honda ATC all-terrain cycle. So yeah, it's not a bike, but you could still call it a cycle, as in a tricycle. But the appalling safety records of that thing forced it to be recalled. And they had, well, not recalled, but they had to cease production of this three-wheeler off-road vehicle. However, as the documentary went on to announce, there was an expiry date on the recall, on the cease and desist, and that expiry date was reached in 2020. So Honda can once again manufacture, I guess, and people can be legally riding their three-wheelers. They can come out of retirement. So yes, the S.T.U.N can be back on the battlefield legally.
Get it out there.
Yeah.
You heard it here first.
Don't do that. It sounds like that thing has real problems. I would rather be a bystander than get into one of these.
Unstoppable. Boys, your personal stories when it comes to the S.T.U.N. What you got for me? Robbie?
So, I think I've seen pictures a lot of the S.T.U.N. I think S.T.U.N. growing up, S.T.U.N. didn't have a S.T.U.N. Yeah, you didn't have a S.T.U.N.
No.
So it was many, many years later. Actually, I mean, I personally only got mine Christmas last year. Stephen was kind enough to give me one. He gave me it was the usual bait and switch. I expected the giant box that contained this was this huge hat box. It's this box there.
Oh no, this is that thing.
It's this gigantic box.
Hey, it's a Terradrome.
Well, it's a good box for it. It's nice. I can put other stuff on top of it. So Steven gave me a giant box and a small box. So I was like, okay, the giant box, that's the gag gift. Steven loves doing that. But actually, it was the small box was the gag gift. It had like little rock, it had a stone in it. And I think it had some of the accessories for things that I was missing.
So it's like a Terradrome. Yeah.
Oh, the box. Yeah. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
This is better than Terradrome. It's small. It's
missing pieces.
No. Here we go. That's true. Actually, it doesn't miss a single piece. All right. So yes, Stephen gave me one for Christmas. I think it's one of the vehicles that I have. I wouldn't say I've had a constant want for it, but it's always fascinated. It's a very interesting vehicle. So yeah, that's essentially my journey. Rob doesn't own this. You should own it because Stephen thinks it's cool. So
Outstanding. Paul, I think yours has a more storied
actual history.
Yeah.
This man must have
Tell us
grown up.
all about it.
Well, I mentioned the Terradrome earlier. So when Greg sent me that awesome box with the Terradrome in it, it came with a stun. It was a half complete stun, but that I'm not looking at gift horse in the mouse when I say that. It's just it didn't have all the bells and whistles, but it did get not one but two motor vipers with it.
Oh, excellent. Though
that
that
was pretty
becomes a
cool.
bit awkward in that where do you place them? The one's obviously the driver. Does the other one go in the
Yeah.
front pod or the back seat?
Yeah, that's the tricky thing. Like, because
It's like the
I
magic
kind of
number
feel
needs
like
to be 3.
yeah. So I just got him at the Terradrome manning the refueling station. That's where the other one is. He's there. That's what he's doing. But my thoughts on the stun, like my initial feeling on it was, I remember when I saw it, the first time I actually saw a stun and went, I actually want that as a toy, was way back when they did a demonstration at one of the Comic Cons, and they had a flag, a USS flag set up with a bunch of modern era figures on it. And I recall I could actually be messing this all up, but I do remember seeing stuns on the deck as part of an invading force on that diorama that they'd created, pardon me. And remember thinking, oh, this thing's actually pretty rad. Like it's a cool, fun looking little vehicle. It'd be nice to get one. But I don't know why I never prioritized one for myself, Like
It seems right up your alley, Paul. Of the 3 of us,
Mm.
you would be the most or have the greatest affinity for this thing because it's weird and it has its
Hokey.
main appearances in the the cartoon series.
Cartoon.
Always do that. Why do they both start with a C? Damn it. No, look, its stunned out moment for me was always GI Joe the movie, which is a film that I hung on every frame of because it was like the key bit of GI Joe animation that dominated my childhood or my early understanding of GI Joe. I didn't have any episodes of the cartoon, but I did rent the movie several times, and it was a main player. Just like GI Joe's main land vehicle was the Havoc, Cobra's was the Stun, and they used it everywhere. That amazing moment, that long shot of like the Cobra Terradrome on Cobra Island, where it spews out fire bats and flight pods from the top, and then you have a convoy of stuns heading out on like a night patrol with their lights flashing. I mean, if you're not seeing it in your mind right now, are you even a GI Joe fan? But like having these things zoom past with the flags flapping in the wind. I mean, the animation budget on the movie obviously swollen, and so they really got to show off the vehicles in that sort of the hot vehicles of the time were shown off so well. I think they cut back to like an old bit of animation that show off the Hiss tank at one point when they're like, Cobra Commander, you've been such a failure when you went forth into the human world. And that's all you get from the Hiss tank. So the Hiss tank had no impact for me after that film, but the stun did. You saw it have action sequences in the snow. Like it was before there was a Cobra Wolf. This was it. This buggy, this 3-wheeler was Cobra's like dedicated snow vehicle. And you had rank and file guys riding in it, but equally you had Cobra Hierarchy riding in it. Mindbender, Firefly, Cobra Commander, Baroness, Destro. Everyone riding these things. Which makes a lot of sense because you've got a lot of face time with the Cobra Stun. These
really
guys are
see
absolutely
all your characters.
Which leads me to put forth a theory that yes, I suppose this can be a scout light vehicle theory time. Yeah, hypothesis. But with the flags and the very like open seating plan, it's essentially like a stagecoach with the driver riding high above his horses. This feels to me, and of course the pimp my hubcaps, very very high on the iconography. Yeah, it's very like put forth the branding as prominent as possible. This feels to me like a German staff car. This is Cobra's answer
it's a propaganda
to that.
pram.
Yeah, you totally would be riding this at the front of a Hiss tank convoy with, your number 1 and 2 in command, like standing up and waving, saluting the troops. It absolutely is that function.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, they
Food for
just
thought.
awkward saluting everybody. Like, hi.
Don't do it. Don't do it. They'll take it out of
Hi.
context.
Yeah. No, I wouldn't fucking do that either, and not even as a joke. But yeah, actually, Steve, I take that point. Actually, I've been playing the Indiana Jones games recently, and there's one or two stealth cars in there because they have the Nazis in it. And as soon as you said that, I was thinking, oh yeah, that actually makes.
That's where you're
sense.
going with this. So
Yeah.
it's got plenty of use in imagined media and also in the film and the season 2 of the Sunbow. Does it find use in your playtimes, boys? What do you do with your stuns?
Oh, just hope for it to have a flag and hubcaps. Jokes aside,
I guess let me rephrase and say, do you split it apart ever?
Yeah, you see, I do like the feature quite a lot.
Oh, here we go.
Oh my
I do love that feature, but it's sometimes, you kind of wish the feature was that it could stay closed. I mean, this thing is like a prostitute with rent to pay. I mean, this thing's legs are always, it's always split open. And it's just, it gets a bit much sometimes, but I love the idea of using this vehicle to kind of start like flank its opponent. So it kind of comes in, and then those little seats kind of spread out, and now it's got, it can like shoot the guy next to it on the side. Like, I love that. But I don't know, maybe there's something wrong with my stun, but I can open one at a time. I don't have to have them both open. Like Rob is currently illustrating the ping pong ball show version of the stun right now. Oh, there we go. See, I like that idea of like the one car opening to the side and just sort of shooting anything that's adjacent. I'm a fan of that because then you can have like two of these guys deploy, they open up, and then they shoot.
Yeah.
And it's also fun because from the GI Joe side, yeah, exactly. And from the GI Joe side, you have got some form of recourse because the Joes could try to push themselves into the stun to prevent that from happening.
Yeah, although it really does expose the driver dramatically.
Oh yeah, big time.
Have these things kind of like firing off to the side.
Yeah, it also exposes the driver to like pebbles and stones and stuff as well, kicking off the wheels. But I mean, let's not get that technical. Also, I think the first time the driver can actually see the road, it's probably the safest. It's probably the one time where you feel safest on the stun.
Yeah, because he actually can see where he's driving.
Yeah.
So a minty fresh stun should have a bit of a click to it, like it clicks into position.
Fortunately, mine does.
My second one that I've kept does not. So it has the same melody as yours, Paul. It sort of will just swing out, and I think it needs to be squashed down a little bit more. But I'm very scared to like get into the guts of the stun and like play with the plastic. So I've just got a piece of tack or press stick, as I would call it back home, right in the nose there, just keeping them joined, because I'm afraid I tend to ignore the feature.
I would say that when I do play with mine, I feel like the feature kind of stunts my enjoyment of it.
Is someone keeping count of this?
It feels unnecessary. Like I don't see any tactical advantage to having it split apart.
Well, look, it would be nice to have some lateral movement to the guns because they can elevate nicely. And if you're not familiar with the stun, they elevate and the seat kind of goes with it.
Moves.
It's small length, so the drivers or the gunner is always going to be looking where the gun turret is elevated to.
But mine are very floppy.
There's no side to side.
Yeah.
So,
but that's
it
kind of
might make it.
It's just directed fire as you're driving towards something.
I wonder if they converge, like when it's in linked mode like that. I wonder if they converge on the center, like the shooting pattern.
They're sort of zeroed at a certain distance. That's where the what does it fire? Do you think? Shall we look at the blueprints?
Yeah,
well, it doesn't fire flash penguins. So I imagine it's some kind of a bullet. Also, while Steve's like looking up that info, I do love the very Mad Max-ish kind of vibe to the Cobra Stun. It does. I also feel like it's one of those great candidates for a Dreadnought kind of repaint or take over.
Well, it's
It
funny
is the
you
kind
say
of
that.
thing. Oh, yes?
They did do in 2004, and they did convention exclusive Dreadnought Stun in very crazy colors. I think they tried to match the colors of the swamp. Swamp
so that
sphere.
weird teal color.
It's kind of like teal and pinks. But a great feature of that one, though, is that they replaced the hubcaps with the Dreadnought symbol.
No way.
Oh.
Yeah, apparently, according to
I want
Yo
to see a
Joe.
picture of that.
According to Yo Joe, they replaced it with a Dreadnought symbol.
So the gun, sadly, as far as the blueprints are concerned, they are just Blazer twin rotating laser battle cannons, which is pretty vague. So lasers, we are fully into the Sunbow years of like everything's a laser.
Okay. But then the rear gun must be a machine gun then.
Yes, a 9mm machine gun.
Oh, that's
which to my mind 9mm is a pistol round, but I guess
yes.
Yeah.
No, I'm at the. I suppose it stops the coyotes from chasing you. You know what I mean? Listen, it's a bullet. You're shooting at something. It's a dangerous item, but nothing. It's not going to do much against anything that's actually armored. If a vamp is on your tail and you like peppering it with that thing, you're just actually, chipping the vamp's paint. In my opinion, I'm sure somebody who knows much more than all of us and has had real experience with such things will leave something in the comments for us. That would be great. Please do that.
Please do that, guys. Don't even think about it. Just do it instantaneously.
Don't think about it. Just do it.
Got an order of battle entry. It's got a little bit more information. Yeah, it says that its weight is 4.2 tons. Range 340 miles. Seems believable to me. I mean that's probably what an economical car could do on road. So it's pretty long range. Speed with a 4-man crew fully loaded, 75 miles per hour road, 44 miles per hour cross country. Impressive. And then armament 4 times 3.5 inch high explosive rocket launchers with 400 drum fired rounds each. So you can play it either way. These things can be like rocket launchers, which would you fire a rocket out of a long barreled tube? I don't know. It's got an interesting look if it's indeed a rocket launcher.
Yeah, that doesn't sound right.
But yeah, interesting.
They all look like guns to me.
Lasers or rockets, but no one says machine guns or cannon. Oh, except, let me actually share this. Do you guys remember the battle files?
The IDW book.
Garbage truck. I'll be back. Yeah, the IDW one.
Oh, the IDW one.
Apologies. The Devil's Due, you're right.
Yeah, I know. I actually have the book here around here somewhere.
I have it too. And that book was actually pretty cool because it was... I got the first one. Actually, it's on my shelf, but it's a pain to get to. But I've got both the Cobra and the GI Joe one. But I got the GI Joe one first. And I remember that did a bit for getting me excited about GI Joe. Like it made GI Joe very tangible because I never stopped being excited about GI Joe. But having this book open and then sort of, when you flip through and you read a few dossiers and whatever, and then you get to the back and then you see all the guys who have either been killed or retired. Now, fun fact, dear listeners, that was the first time I'd realized Quick Kick and co were felled in battle. I didn't know that until that point.
Ah, interesting. I always assumed that all the Joes, were still alive, except maybe, one or two, I guess.
Yeah.
That is kind of wild to think about. But you kind of realize, wait a minute, Joes can die.
Yeah, that was the thing. It's like because I never heard about them dying before that,
Yeah,
There
I
are no
suppose if you don't
characters.
own the issues, you wouldn't really necessarily
Exactly.
know that.
And also, a lot of the GI Joe comic book issues that we got our hands on when I was younger was all the post 100 stuff, and it was when it was like, you know, Baroness being, you know, brainwashed, then Snake Eyes being brainwashed, then Scarlet fighting that Terminator type machine thing, and
Suddenly there were
then Cobra Commander.
Transformers.
Yeah, and then there were Transformers. It was like a whole thing. You know what I mean? Like it was mad. And I think if I'm not mistaken, I think Quick Kick is actually in one of those issues. Meanwhile, he's meant to be dead.
Hey guys, I'm
So
back.
yeah, like hey my dudes. So there's that. But yeah, it was a weird time. Anyway, the battle files. Steve is just observing the awesomeness that is the garbage truck with his son, and you know, who can blame the man, and who can
In the
blame his son?
meantime,
Garbage trucks are like robots with
I
wheels.
managed to find an image through Google search of the Dreadnought version of the Stone.
Oh
So
my!
you can see on
Wow.
here. So this is the actual cut. So it was released.
Okay, so guys, this thing is, yeah, it's like a purple and teal color scheme. It's not even it's actually a little bit more turquoise than teal.
Yeah.
I actually would have thought that I actually feel like a lot of this is a win, except for the white wheel covers. I think the white wheel covers look a bit shit.
Yeah.
I think if they were purple or something, yeah. Or
but
even
it's
like
cool,
silver.
that they replaced it.
It is cool.
That you have the hubcaps.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
It's a cool idea. Okay, again, I'm gonna sound like a dissenting voice here now. I liked the idea of it, but I think if they wanted it to be more, I think it would have been more iconic had they reduced that to make it more skull-like, and you know, more mono kind of monocolored design. Right now, it's a little bit too much. It's a little bit like it's been branded, if that makes sense. But wow, actually, a purple stun in my life. Well, stunned.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
So apparently, the screenshot is taken from someone who reviewed it on YouTube 12 years ago. Yeah.
12. My word. Hey, good color combination having a yellow background for that as well.
Yeah, pretty smart.
I wonder. Please, guys, let us know in the comments if you have one of these. I would love to like hear about it, if that has any weird niggly features, or if there's anything that they kind of tweaked or fixed or whatever's. I doubt it, but it's always fun to hear. And I'm also curious how much these go for now, or how much one of these will set you back online.
I imagine these at least would probably they probably made a lot less compared to the Pythonized version and the original version. So I guess they'll probably go for a little bit more, even though, I mean, I was about to say, you know, they're not that old, but I mean, they are now 21 years old.
Yeah. Also,
absolutely.
I mean, we've been doing this podcast for how long? And this is the first time we've seen it, or at least the first time I've seen it.
Yeah. But yeah, it is quite a mashup of colors, this Dreadnought version. Absolutely crazy.
Madness. I really hate the white wheel covers though. They're horrible.
It does stand out a bit. It's like
it's a bit cuck.
What color would you have used instead?
I would have just kept them purple, or gone with like a silver. You know.
Well, for them to match the original, they would actually have to be that kind of like teal color, because the cannons are also red, and that would match the wheels.
Yeah, but it does. Yeah, I'm just trying to push them back. I think that's what I think. I don't like all that open space. It's jarring.
But still, fascinating repaint. I still think the original is probably the best version. Although I could see myself owning a Python Patrol version. I think I do like the kind of Pythonization process applied to it.
There is something sexy about a Pythonized version of a vehicle.
Yeah.
I also can't understand it. On paper, I'm like, but in hand, it speaks to you.
It looks interesting. And on that version, hubcaps are, I believe, gray. So they actually did.
Are they gray? Aren't they yellow? Or am I having a Mandela effect?
No, they're not. I mean, you would assume, because I mean, on the original it matches the red to the cannons to the wheel caps, but no, they're actually grey. At least according to GI Joe. Isn't that insane?
I would say I'm shocked, but actually, we all know I'm stunned.
Gray silver. You are stunned. You're stunned to silence.
Stunning. Steven's back.
I'm back, baby. The garbage truck has come, has went. Turns out the battle files from Devil's Due also listed as rocket launchers. So that's 2 for rocket launchers, and then the box blurb the blueprints for laser cannons. Play it the way you want.
Explosive rocket launchers with 400 drum-fired rounds each.
Cheers.
Interesting.
So I did a first for this episode. Wanted to get some public opinions, but garnered them from a very small pool. I went to the YouTube members and asked them about the stun, how they play their stuns. I even went as far as to ask what the acronym could be, because yes, stun.
Yes, I was actually trying to find a good time to mention this, because on the stun itself, it actually has its own. It has its own sticker, which is its symbol, I guess you could say.
S.T.U.N.
It's a double-headed snake. Is the symbol for the stun. Sorry, my camera is too bright. But anyway, there it is.
We got it, baby. We got it.
And it's the double-headed snake. Is the symbol for the stun.
It's also the acronym. Also the S.T.U.N. without any kind of explanation appears on the mail away Motor Vipers file card. So
it's wild. They just never explained it. It's not on the box from what I could see. It's on the blueprints. It's just on here, and as you just said, on this file card.
So without an actual source being cited by AI, Mark van Leeuwen asked ChatGPT what stun could stand for, and this is what Skynet had to say. According to ChatGPT, there we go. Stun stands for Strategic Terrorist Unit Night Raider. Okay. I buy it because it's so clunky. It's so strange that it sounds like something Hasbro's copy would have at the time.
Yeah, don't forget the whale.
Exactly. Envoy. MCDJ ACDC fires back with he's got 2 options. The one is the serious acronym and the other is kind of the funny guy. But the serious one is survivable, tactical, unruly nemesis.
Okay.
And then the ha-ha one is shenanigans, tanglefoot, uncanny nauseation. Okay. Yeah, it'd be pretty nauseating if it throws you into the side pods off to a 90-degree angle. I mean, a trike is by its very nature unstable. You know, the ATC, you had to kind of lean into the turns in order to keep it from flipping over. I mean, the weirdness of having 2 wheels on the back and 1 wheel on the front, and the weight all wrong.
Confusing.
Sad times. Other guys who weighed in, Pete Moline, not on the acronym, but on just the function of the stun. He said, I never owned or enjoyed the stun. Too weird to make sense of, even as a toy. My feeling toward the stun, Havoc, and most Mars vehicles are similar to most older Joe's fans' feeling toward Cobra Law. So yeah, if you're old school, if you were with GI Joe from the get-go, probably had a hard time adopting these wacky, wonderful mid-80s vehicles and late 80s vehicles.
Wow.
Mark fires back saying, I never liked it. So that's 2 in the negative camp. I do think the wheel caps are cool, though. The fact that they stay stationary while driving is rad. I love the Motor Viper. I use mine as stormtroopers. The stun, however, it looks cool as a battle-damaged leftover vehicle in the Aftermath diorama. He says he's cut his up to fit the bill. I suppose if you are finding stuns on the secondary market and not keen on completing them, going through that rigmarole, using them in customs is a good fate for a stun. I've seen stuns with the single front wheel sort of stem cracked. I I don't think you want to be messing with trying to repair that. Sure, you could plastic weld it, but it needs to look nice. It's so exposed. So once that's gone, if some kid has been putting his weight on the thing and snapped that front axle, then use it as a battle damage diorama piece. Why not?
Because I mean,
MCDJ, yeah.
Well, the fascinating thing is, I mean, the way that it's attached at the bottom, it's an extension from the one side. So technically, if you place the wheel not on the inside, on the outside, it could be a four-wheeler. You'd essentially just extend the pylon on the other side, the same as you did to attach this wheel, and then it could actually very easily be a four-wheeler.
I've never thought of
You're
that.
giving me an idea, Rob.
You know, like you just extend it on the one side. You do this, but on the other side, and then instead of having the wheel in the middle, you put it on the outside. You know,
I wonder why no one's ever actually done that on the internet, or if they have, it's not popular enough to see light of day. I mean,
it feels like Paul might be doing that soon. He's going to give himself a beta version. He's going to chop.
Oh, no, I'm just going to draw it at a lot less effort.
Oh, okay, that's someone out there make the real dream.
It occurs to me this thing can be a troop carrier. Like, it's got these suicide running boards on the back.
Yes.
Essentially,
you can definitely get a whole bunch of guys to stand there. On the back.
Holding on to nothing but their foot peg.
Mm-hmm.
It's that Cobra tech, baby. Those magnetic boots. They're on there tight.
It's very Mad Max.
They'll hold on to each other. Ooh, survive this together. Yes.
Courtesy of Form BX 257's review, which I took in last night, I learned, to my great surprise, there is a difference between the standard release and the later release. So the standard US release
of the Motor Viper.
Yes, you will see a bit of blue paint peeking out on their neck at the back.
What?
But the later release, which I suppose would have been released in the UK, other territories, Australia, doesn't have that paint. And also will be stamped made in China as opposed to made in Hong Kong. So, Robbie, I ask you, buddy, what about your Motor Viper?
What do I have? Made in China. Mine's made in China.
Well, it wouldn't surprise me that is more numerous. I mean, they produced this as a mail away for several years. And also, like, the international dimension of it, like, yeah. Mine definitely comes from this part of the world, my Motor Viper. And he's made in China as well.
Wow.
Come on, Rob.
Non-original.
You're not shocked, Rob. You're not.
I'm stunned.
You're stunned. That's what it is. That's what it is.
It's taking. I feel like I'm at a standstill now. You know.
So okay, so something every now and then, especially with a vehicle as dubious as the S.T.U.N. and as polarizing as the S.T.U.N. And I know we're going to get through some more acronyms, but I was just curious, what would you guys do to kind of improve the S.T.U.N.? So Rob kind of started with he would flip the wheel out to make it a more sort of stable platform.
Wheels.
But I mean, just
ignore this feature. 4 wheels.
So you would completely remove. You would go with it being a 4-wheeled vehicle. Would you still have a split apart feature in any kind of way at all? You wouldn't like try to turret that or anything?
No, I don't think so. I think I like the body the way it is. I think it's a very good. It's substantial. It's great just the way it is. I think just added the extra wheel, and I think a lot of people like this.
I think it's a stunning vehicle. Like visually, it's such a weirdo, but I do like it quite a lot. But what I would do is also similar to you. I like the I would play with the tripod idea a bit more. Maybe push the front wheel to the back, make that the back wheel, and have the 2 front wheels be the stronger support, and then kind of have a bit of a
keep it a tricycle.
Well, modern trikes, I realize, like, it just it came to me now. The name of the vehicle, it was called a slingshot. And we used to
Yes.
see them in New York when we were there, boys.
Yes. Yeah.
Very popular, like street machine. With it has a sort of a car axle basically on the front, and that's how you get steering and stability. And then I guess the
Yeah.
drive wheel is in the back, and it's a single wheel.
And
yeah.
and if you had to like enlarge that kind of thing and give it a bit of like a twisty kind of motion to it, you could probably give it a lot more like all-terrain possibilities, and you could still put like a rear-facing combatant in the back to shoot things behind you. You could probably still find a way to get the guns to split apart. I'll be drawing it, don't worry. It's up there with our Tokusatsu GI Joe combiner robot sketch that I will throw out as a thing for the Patreons.
All still on it. Good.
Yeah, very much on it. I actually just want to do quite like I'm making a list of things that I want to do. But coming back to the acronym quickly, because Steve, I know that you've probably got some ideas with S.T.U.N as well.
Oh
of
no,
how
my
you would
ideas were
implement
all
it.
courtesy of the members. I'm not going to weigh in myself, but if you got one, Paul, fire away, brother.
Well, aside from like doing the whole reverse tripod or tricycle thing, I also like Rob's idea of it being a four-wheeled buggy, with the idea with the actual driving cabin being more of something that's very reminiscent of a tank's turret. So you got a vehicle that's very similar to the tank from Blaster Master. So then you could essentially have a three-man vehicle, and then again you could still incorporate the split apart feature in the front, because you could have the two guns. They could be unified as a whole big turret that can swing left and right, or you could have the turret split. So and that can move around like kind of a ring. And so for example, on the
Great
right
for
hand side it could
stability.
break. Yeah, well, you're still on a huge vehicle base of four wheels, and it's
Right.
you got a lot of suspension. And as a toy, I think it could actually work very, very well. Again, I'll draw it. I'll throw it out to people on as a drawing vlog thing, as an art vlog.
Hate it or love it, you can't deny the stun is iconic.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
We've been
I
pretty
always thought-
middling on it. The members that I canvassed have been, well, two of them at least,
All over
didn't
the
like it
place.
at all. But
Yeah.
good old Todd Brotrud. Todd Brotrud. Got it in two. He says that he didn't own one, but he needs one. He loves any Cobra vehicle with a 3D logo. And this specific vehicle has always been attractive to him. I would use it as more of a chariot for the Cobra higher-ups, maybe remove the flags and also use it front line, create a slightly different look. So yeah, he's falling in line with that idea that I put forward, that this might be a vehicle for show, more for show than for actual practicalities. Like that.
With this little bad boy as well, acronyms. I'm just coming back to the acronyms because like Steve did sort of drop a thing with us and asked us to like think of some as well. And Rob, what was yours again?
Well, I did for my acronym listing. Actually, I didn't say mine.
Imagine that.
That is weird. I'd probably go with like strategic tricycle unleashing nastiness. it like the S and the T I think are pretty easy, but like the N, I think the N is a difficult word to get down right as kind of like a military word. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I don't know. Sentry, yeah. It is difficult to kind of make it really work properly.
No, it's a tricky one.
Yeah.
For me,
strategic, tactical. I don't know. I can't say unicycle because it's obviously not a unicycle.
So far from being one, to be fair.
True.
I found flags on the aftermarket. They had a neat break right in the middle. So I just put a piece of, I think it's electrical hose, electrical wiring cover, plastic. What do you call it? Rubber. I don't know.
Yeah, kind of like the sheath.
Yeah,
Or the,
took
did
the,
see
the
wiring,
yeah.
the insulation.
yeah. There
It's
you
it's what gives resistance, so you don't get electrified.
go. And I think that makes it a neat enough fix. I don't mind that at all.
Yeah.
But
That's
flags,
to-
my friends, flags are a problem, and to that end, the 3D
Well,
printers
it's not
have
just that. I mean, I think there's a lot of pieces on this thing that can break quite easily. I mean, one of my little guns, the little one post, is kind of like snapped, and in playing with it now, I mean,
Oh no, shame, Rob.
the one little cover, it already has the little thing snapped off, and then just kind of like fiddling with it now, the little snap thing, the little hook
Oh
on
no.
the other one actually is basically
That
finished.
red plastic hates people, dude. I wonder what
Yeah,
material it is because I got the most
it
amazing
does.
super glue at Hobby X. Like,
Yeah,
it's
well, I mean, I
insane.
think it's still there, but I see the other one has been attached using plastic, so okay, and it is actually in there. I think someone attempted a fix before.
I attempted and failed miserably. I tell you the problem, Paul. There's not enough. Like the wall
It's
thickness
not
is
enough
so
room.
thin. The plastic
Yeah.
being as fragile as it is one thing. But when it comes to the flags and the engine covers, there's just not a lot of plastic there for glue or any kind of substance
Yeah,
to
okay,
grab.
actually kind of like
So it's an incredibly thin piece of plastic to try and affix, and
Okay,
because
so
it's
there's no
needing to be snapped
bright
into
area.
place,
Mm.
you know that glue,
constant.
that weld has to, yeah, it has a big challenge right off the bat if you're trying to slip
Yeah.
it back into place. So I think once that little clip is gone, you're best just using putty.
You guys have
tack,
got to watch.
press stick.
You guys have got to watch the video that we shot at Hobby X when we did the glue demo with these guys. Like,
Oh, really? Did you guys?
like, look at this glue. You know that when the glue comes like this, in packaging like this, okay,
Oh, wow.
clear packaging with no branding on it, you know that this shit is good.
Well, Paul,
I mean,
send me some, and I'll definitely test it out on my stone.
yeah, man, this stuff
We'll
is
see
insane.
if
Like,
can get it
I will send
fixed.
you the video first. Let me send you because we'll start stocking it in the store.
Share a video with
Anyway,
us. Show us.
I keep
Because it's a
Mhm.
constant worry, things breaking on vehicles. And yes, mine may be complete, but there are pieces of it that are kind of like falling apart. But thankfully, the body itself, the silhouette, the hubcaps, it's all good. Like it's just
Also-
the small details that kind of are.
and just perhaps a word of warning. If you guys are going to fix your son's flag with
Mhm.
sort of insulation wiring or insulation
Yeah.
tubing, just remember that just make sure that that wire is not connected to any electrical source, because you will not be stunned by it. You will be shocked. And yeah, it's a dad joke. I had to.
Careful.
Anybody got something
and-
nice to say about Motor Viper?
I love Motor Viper, dude.
Huh.
Motor Viper, yeah, Motor Viper's awesome. Motor Viper's like an 80s henchman, like from a future movie. I love Motor Viper. I'm so glad I have two of them actually. And he's got one of the best chest sculpts. Like hands down.
It's
I love
very
his
well
chest sculpt.
sculpted, for sure. I'd say that, but I still.
Such a
I
cool
mean, the
design.
thing for me that stands out the most is why is he this color when he comes with the stun? Like I've seen mismatched colors before. With the hydrofoil, the driver of that is a completely different color to the vehicle. But like, why is he blue when the vehicle itself is black and red?
Easier to replace the driver than it is to fix the vehicle. I don't know.
I know.
Cobra
But-
blue for troops is a great look. He fits in with your blue shirts.
Yeah, it's more like they were thinking towards you using him across all your vehicles, all your Cobra vehicles, more than like matching him to be the driver of the stun. I mean, even just the name Motor Viper sounds so generic.
On 3D Joe's, they have the mail away file card. You know that
Ooh.
because it says Cobra S.T.U.N. S.T.U.N driver
Interesting.
as a specialty. So they acknowledge the acronym without spelling out the acronym on that file.
That's wild. While the original has just spelled stun.
Yeah. So it's something that they actually proactively changed, but didn't give us an explanation. Anyway, the Motor Viper
That's
attracts a
fascinating.
certain type of individual who, without the benefit of an education and ambition, might have joined the Dreadnoks. So these guys are motorheads, but they just have a little bit more brains. Nice. The Cobra Recon and Perimeter Defense Forces are disciplined,
Under
efficient,
civic
and
owners.
highly motivated. This is fairly surprising, seeing that the force seems to be comprised of the type that enjoys driving at high speeds and finds amusement in danger. I don't think those things are necessarily at
Furious
odds with
fan.
each other. I think you can be disciplined and efficient and highly motivated and have a need for speed.
Yeah,
So
for
these
sure.
guys are kind
As
of
long as
that
you got
Venn
family.
diagram, like crossroads between like Daredevil and also like rational thinker.
All about family.
There's a quote. It's not attributed to anyone, but it reads as follows. As far as we can figure, the Motor Vipers don't get paid any better than the Ground Vipers and Sea Vipers. Those don't exist, but they've been trademarked for some reason.
Yeah, they weren't on the original file card.
Nor do they receive any special privileges or benefits. They have their own distinctive uniform, but it's no flashier than the rest. I would disagree. I think it's pretty
beg to
flashy.
differ. Yeah.
Twin silver pistols in
Fucking
holsters.
laser cop over here, my guy. This is...
Why then would a Cobra volunteer for such an obviously hazardous duty assignment unless it was the danger itself that appealed to him? Well, yes, absolutely. You're riding this tricycle chariot at the top point with no roll bar. You're a sniper's wet dream. I mean, geez, these guys are ludicrous. Real death wish stuff. But they do look like riot cops or, I don't know, like some kind of futuristic...
Mad Max.
There you go. I've never liked it, and I'll tell you why. For a Cobra Trooper, it's very overly designed, sure, but it doesn't have the one thing that I demand all Cobra, like, rank and file to have.
No,
it's a Cobra symbol, man. He's got
and also
this...
the heads. Yeah, he's got
he's
like
definitely a member of
there.
Starfleet. He's got this like V on his chest, but I would take that away and put the pop of silver as a Cobra symbol. And
Just put it
like,
on there.
Two to be
not in the middle. I think that's
energized.
a difficult, perhaps a difficult
I
area
think
for the Tampa.
the one detail that the one detail I
put on
don't
the chest.
appreciate
Put it on the
is-
chest. There's a spot.
Yeah, put it right there. I don't like his helmet because I don't. There's no, not that it has to have a mouth detail, but just a little bit of a suggestion that there is a head in there.
Well, they kind of
If they were
is.
going to go a little bit more over budget on this figure, the helmet should have been a removable piece with a visor. Because it's clearly intended to be this kind of flip down, flip up riot shield. But because it's sculpted, you've got this blocky underside, which doesn't really help the
It almost looks like he has like a duck lip underneath it. There's kind of like there's a little bit of a detail in there, but the duck lip kind of goes straight across and is way too wide to be his mouth. So you can see it from the side. There's kind of like a little bit of bump underneath the silver, but if you look at it from the front, it's too wide to be a mouth.
Yeah,
it's some kind of cover. Listen, it could be like the BMX helmets. I don't know if you guys remember the 80s BMX helmets. They had those massive chin guards that kind of sat and went just sort of underneath your nose.
Is that? Well, I mean,
was like kind of ridiculous because if you broke your septum that way, you could actually, go blind. But anyway, let's not go there.
Well, they
weren't thinking when they did that.
To be a stuntman.
I can't believe the file card said that this isn't a flashy uniform. I mean, you could very easily have had a slight redesign on the Cobra Blue shirt driving a stun, just to double down on the fact that the assignment is nothing special. But yeah, these Motor Viper uniforms are snappy as.
They're real flash. He's as
quite
well
stunning,
dressed as the Cobra pilots,
Which then makes sense that he was used for Sky Patrol's, I think it's Drop Zone. I might be wrong. Yeah, Drop Zone is a repurpose of the stun driver, and it's unrecognizable.
Interesting.
He's done up in tan,
so crazy
brown.
that.
Mm-hmm.
It's so crazy. Like, it took me a while to like click on that. For
Well,
real.
with all those hoses, he does look like some kind of futuristic paratrooper.
That's why.
Also, didn't they
GI Joe.
reuse this? Sorry, Rob, I spoke over you there, my man.
No, I was just saying it's wild that they reused this for GI Joe, and you're saying it's so wildly different that whether you're up close or at a distance, it looks completely different.
It might shock you to know that they did a completely recast version, or not recast. They did a fun school version of this guy that was like all in dark, all in black, I think it was, with some one or two silver accents, and it was a motorcycle. Like, I'm trying to remember the name of the toy, but it's actually an 80s movie. Speed Hawk, thank you. And also Synthwave Band. Yes.
But that
that
would be
figure,
the
by the way.
Target. Isn't that the Target
No,
that they used?
there's a Motor Viper as well,
Okay.
if I'm not mistaken. Yeah,
yeah,
there's two
India
variations.
Used whatever, man.
It's cool though. I'd like to get one of those. Just, I mean, not like, oh my god, I can't live without one. But I mean, if I ever came by one and I had the means to get it without hurting myself, yeah, I'd get one. I think it's pretty cool.
Don't hurt yourself.
On screen right now is Drop Zone. I hope I got that right.
Oh, no, sorry,
And
it's
the
Airwave. Drop Zone is the
Airwave.
munitions guy. Airwave is
orange
the Como
one.
guy. So it's
Yes.
Airwave from Sky Patrol.
And they've
I get them all
actually
mixed up.
managed to give him the helmet that it looks like they wanted to give him in the first place.
Yeah.
Isn't that wild? Because the helmet that Airwave comes with is essentially a bike helmet, but oversized. The visor is huge.
Yeah,
They did
it's
it.
a cool
They did it in
helmet.
the 90s for Repaint Force, but in 86 they couldn't spring for.
I wonder
it's
if they
astonishing to me that
prototyped
these
the
are such
helmet.
similar helmets.
Yeah, I wonder if they prototyped the helmet, but then they decided not to go with it.
Oh, I think, Rob, I think they definitely prototyped the helmet. They probably just couldn't get the tooling approved for it.
There's several Sky Patrol guys
fucking...
that have the same helmet kind of concept, that have a flip down solid visor, altitude,
like
and drop zone. They all have a kind of knight's visor that drops down over a silver helmet.
But this is a
like Lego
fantastic
Men
of the motorbike body.
Isn't it
really
just?
is unrecognizable.
So, Steve, I try to pull an acronym out of Rob. I'm going to try and pull an acronym of the stun out of you now. I know that you've been trying to stall and think of one while you've been changing the topic, because I've also got one that's equally terrible, but I want to hear yours first, if you got one. The look on your face says, oh shit.
Stability.
Yeah.
Trying. Unnecessary. Not going to happen.
Okay. God, I feel like I was the only one who tried to make this cool, and now I feel like a dork for doing that. But I came up with.
No, I appreciate.
I came up with
suspended
terrain unified neutralizer. That's what I came up with.
Okay,
Just words, my man. Meaningless words. I mean, it's
all meaningless words. But I try to make them mean something, because it's still suspended. It's still a terrain vehicle.
There surely is a good fitting acronym out there. And I'm going to task it to the comment section for this podcast to come up with like the best one. And if you are reading the comment section and you don't want to put forward an answer, why don't you then upvote it? Give it a like. Let's see which one. Because I'm curious. I'm sure better minds than ours can come up with something that actually makes sense, fits this thing down to its function, its configuration. Yeah, go ham, guys. But I think I've said all I wanted to say about this bad boy.
Yeah, this vehicle is all over the place. I mean, but I think overall it's cool. Like, as I said, ignoring the split apart feature, I think it's a great vehicle. Like as I said, it is just something substantial about it, and it fits the colors of Cobra.
Should we visit some
covered in symbols?
seeing as we're running out of things to say, should we quickly lean into some comments quickly as we round off the show?
Interesting.
Oh, okay.
Guys,
We're gonna go post-box the pit in our vehicle focus. I think
yeah, why not?
my
I
final
think it's
note
nice.
on this is, love it or hate it, the S.T.U.N is an icon of Cobra.
Yes.
And it's fortunate that it is also in the classic Cobra colors in a pre-Destro faction split world where Cobra very happily inhabited the black and red. Like this fits in with your Night Attack Jeep, with Cobra Blue stuff like the Ferret. It makes for such a handsome convoy. The Thunder Machine, everything that it had, like really leans into the black, the red, Cobra Blue, and Cobra White. That is my favorite Cobra palette of all. The classics. You can't argue with the classics. And as a classic, you're well off army building these. I mean, if you can find them.
I always just thought it was a constant in like Cobra that this thing always existed and would be a favorite. It's kind of weird to me that people don't think it's
yeah. I also find that a bit
way. It's
jarring.
Just it's interesting, you know. But I'm glad
Paul, hit us with some comments.
Well, I feel like maybe I missed the memo on this, and now I feel sheepish about this. But I think our regular listeners would love to hear their comments, and there's some cool ones here. In fact, there weren't that many, but Crazy Billy 007 says, I love Hideo Kojima. That man is the Guillermo del Toro for video games. It's funny. It's interesting he says that because Hideo Kojima and Guillermo del Toro actually work together quite a bit, and they have recently on Death Stranding. And on the PT, which was meant to be Silent Hills thing. So that's pretty cool. So nice one, Crazy Billy.
Yeah.
Talking Joe Comics says, no prize for the diesel barrel. It is for the pushback tug out of frame that would be used to tow aircraft into the hangar.
That was my comment, by the way. I was going to mention that one. Thanks.
So that's in reference to the Jinx silent mission where we see a Night Raven hangar with a diesel fuel
barrel.
We were wondering, what does that do? What is that do?
Night Raven, the tractor. Thanks, Talking Joe.
It's brilliant.
And then,
thanks.
Sorry, I was just unloading the comments on us. Sorry, Rob. I didn't realize that you had picked a favorite one. That's why I just kind of just read them off. The Lilith posted quite a fun one here. I reckon Paul, aka Deadly Pencil, should change his name to Deadly Decoupage. Thank you, Lilith. Seeing as I was at Hobby X. Then they're also going to say, but let's get into topic at hand. Silent Interlude is such an interesting experience when you first picked it up back in the day, and for a person who struggles to read, it was great. Then again, my memory goes to issue 85, which you hardly hear people talk about. But to be honest, Skybound hasn't really sparked my imagination, and the silent issues really don't do it for me. The artwork is beautiful, and I do like them, but the story I felt could be a bit more interesting. Perhaps I'm being a little too harsh on it, but I don't have that much to say. Anyway, great show, guys, like always. Thank you, Lilith. Thank you for the awesome comment, as always.
Thanks, Paul, for leading Pitbox the Pot this week.
Yeah.
If you want to get a hold of us, the comment section is always a good place to start, but you can also email us at arealsouthafricanhero@gmail.com. The link is below. Send us a voice note if you like. We haven't had one of those in a while.
Oh my goodness, please. Just don't be a bystander. Like, get involved. Talk to us. Like,
to the very end. Rob's going to keep this bit going. You good boy. James, it's always a pleasure chatting to you both. Thank you. Thank you.
And let's welcome... Sorry, Steve. Sorry, man. Like, I'm cutting in, and I know you've got like a vibe going there and everything, but I have to mention this. I just wanted to say hello to the latest Patreon supporter.
Hello,
Joe. I'm going to call him Joe R. Because I haven't got a full-on code name, and I wasn't sure if I could use his full name for the list, for the honor roll. So we're just going to call him Joe R. Welcome, Joe R. Thank you for supporting the channel. Joe R is a big fan, has recently been binging all of our episodes, and
nice.
Yeah, decided to support us. So thank you very much. If you guys want to, you can also support us. Stephen will show you how after he says the cool thing that he wanted to say. But you can join our patrons and our Google membership. Our YouTube members YouTube membership. tier,
You can
whatever.
join the Berg Force.
You've got two different options. If you hate the way Patreon does certain things, you can go with the Google thing. All of it goes to the same place, really.
It's not a
Support
Google
the
thing; it
channel.
is a YouTube thing. But I take your
The
point. Thanks,
YouTube
Paul.
thing, well, Google is the same
Look,
difference.
YouTube membership is not
It's
available
nice.
in all countries, so my apologies if it's not available in your territory. If you'd like to support the show, Patreon is the way to go. If neither of those options appeal to you, just watching us, sharing us, liking, commenting, that is thanks enough. That is amazing support. Thank you to all of our regulars in that regard.
You are
And without further ado,
instantaneous fan of ours. Watch us.
Yo, Joe.
Stone.
We'll see you next week. Bye, guys.